Hello Internet, welcome to this exciting new thing that isn't a stream. I don't know how that happened. I had some thoughts that needed to go somewhere, I guess. So I streamed the first 3 hours of Boyfriend Dungeon last night, and if you missed this, Boyfriend Dungeon is a dungeon crawler slash dating sim where you get to date your weapons. It had quite a lot of publicity earlier in the year, and it kind of went down like Marmite. Some people absolutely loved it, and quite a lot of people absolutely hated it, and the developers got a lot of flack for it. Now, the other piece to this story is that it was made by Kid Fox Games, who are a very small independent studio that's staffed and run largely by marginalized people. Okay? And so one of the things that kind of kept coming up is, why do we constantly bombard people who make own voices stuff, marginalized creators, with criticism that we wouldn't throw at mainstream productions? And I think it's a fair question, and this is kind of part of the reason why I wanted to try Boyfriend Dungeon as a game, to see what the fuss was all about. And the fuss, as I had understood it before I started playing it, was about a couple of things. One is that effectively, one of the core storylines of the game is about a stalker and unwanted advances, and this is something that these are targeted at you as a player character, and you have to deal with them. And the game very much starts with, as we'll see in a second, with a content note saying, this is part of the game. Now, the original content note was phrased as, this may be part of the game. So it was quite vague, and it implied that this is something you could opt out of. And one of the pieces of criticism I've seen is that it wasn't clear that these unwanted advances and this stalking would be targeted at you, the player character. And Kid Fox Games very promptly responded to that piece of criticism and actually changed the wording of the content note to what we'll see in a moment, which is great. Like, I love that they were so responsive. And then the second piece that I kind of heard people had said was, people had basically demanded that Kid Fox rewrite the game in a way that you could opt out of that part of the story, or just remove that part of the story entirely. And obviously, this is the core of the story, right? You don't want to take that game apart, and I understand that, and I think we absolutely should be able to tell difficult stories. We should be able to handle those subjects in media sensitively and carefully, and so I was kind of on the fence. Like, I had seen all of this go down. I was like, okay, let's play this. Let's see what it's all about. So that was my expectation going in, that they had fixed the content warning, and that actually a lot of the flack that they got was probably to an extent unreasonable in demanding that that part of the story be ripped out. But I had also seen a couple of media critics I respect kind of say, no, there's more to this, and this game is actively unsafe to play. If, for instance, you're an ace person or an aromantic person, this game is extremely uncomfortable and downright unsafe. Alright, so hey, I'm ace-ish, I'm queer in a number of other ways, I like own voices media, so I kind of wanted to check it out. And I found the experience of the first 3 hours, and I will keep playing it. I intend to finish it, and I intend to kind of stream the whole thing. I will keep playing it. But I found that experience extremely uncomfortable. And again, I will put that video up at some point. Now, I have since had some thoughts about why that experience was quite so uncomfortable. What about particularly the opening of the game? Like, if you watched that video of me streaming it last night, I was literally just backing away and then cringing back into the sofa, because some of the things were really quite full on. And so I was like, okay, what is making this quite so bad and uncomfortable? And I have some theories, and I want to test out one of them today. So basically starting a new save file, and I will play not very far into it, probably maybe about half an hour, just through that opening section where the kind of setting gets established and some of the characters get established. And we'll do that, and I might come back and do some more commentary at the end of it. And I suspect this will not be my final verdict on this game, but it's just another piece that I wanted to add to the mix of what I'm doing with this game. Ultimately, what I want to do today is play through that opening, but make a slightly different choice in the settings at the start to see how that affects things, and I'll explain that in a minute. So, let's dive in. I mean, everyone is very cute. Let's start a new game, and this is not even on the same Switch account as the original save file, so hopefully we're not going to overwrite anything. Right, content note. This game's story involves exposure to unwanted advances, stalking, and other forms of emotional manipulation. Play with care and take breaks as needed. Okay, so this is the reworded content note, and I actually don't remember the exact wording of the original content note. I've seen it somewhere, but this is definitely less tentative. This doesn't say it may involve. This says, no, look, you're going to have to deal with this. I'm not sure that it implies heavily enough that these things are targeted at you, the player character, but it's an improvement, and I'll take it. And incidentally, I'll say this up front, my problem with a lot of the things that I found uncomfortable last night wasn't actually the Stalker storyline. It was some of the other things. So, let's have a look at this. Loading screens, yay. Boyfriend dungeon. Let's be us. In fact, I'm just going to go with the default character for this. Yeah, let's just go with that, because this is pretty much a throwaway save. So, are you ready to begin? You can change your character anytime while in the apartment, which actually I do really like that bit. So this is our next kind of content note, and actually a choice where we can opt into or out of some of the content of the game. This game sometimes sends you supportive text messages from a character named Mum. Is that okay? If you answer no, we will disable these messages. Okay? So, again, queer developers, many of us don't have, many queer people don't have the best relationships with our bio families. I, for one, don't. And also there are kind of other reasons why you might not want to receive messages in-game from a character called Mum. It might be that you've lost your mother. There's a whole bunch of reasons why people might be uncomfortable with this, and I actually really like that you're given the choice. Now, this is where last night in my playthrough, I decided to go with yes. Okay, let's see that I wanted to experience the full game and the full content. And that, I found, had certain effects, I think, and this is why we're going to choose the other option today. I think one of the reasons that some of the things that felt quite so uncomfortable was that I went with yes. Okay, so let's disable Mum. And I guess we'll find out how much of Mum is disabled here, because from what I played through last night, I'm not entirely sure that all of that character is just cut out entirely, or if she's still present but you just don't get a lot of the text messages. Final boarding call for Verona Beach. All passengers, please board immediately. We're going somewhere. I have not been in an airport in, 2 and a bit years. We're going to exciting places. Cats! Oh, there we go. We've gone somewhere.
Hey, welcome to Verona Beach, cuz. It's me, Jesse.
Okay. So, first character we'll meet.
It's been a long 10 years, huh? Your mom said you'd grown up, but I had no idea. You're so much taller.
Okay, so this is our cousin. And as we'll find out in a sec, we are basically crashing at his place over the summer in this new city that we've kind of gone to for a summer vacation, presumably. And we haven't seen him, the implications that we haven't seen him in some time, etc. So, yeah, it's been 10 years. And he's been in touch with our mother, so even though we kind of turned off the supportive messages from Mum, that bit of dialogue is still there, which is one of the things I did want to know.
Sorry, I just remember you as a little kid. Cousin problems.
Okay.
I was in college, and you were like in the 5th grade or something, back before California.
I actually have no idea how old 5th graders are in, like, America, but this is something else that kind of I did notice last night as I was playing it. We're basically, like, the player character is maybe just out of high school, maybe sort of college age by the looks of it.
Doesn't matter. Come on, I'll show you your room for the summer.
Okay. He leads us upstairs. You can stay here till my lease runs out in September. I moved out to live with my partner last month, so you get free rent. Nice. Plus we'll have the whole summer to solve your little problem, and this is where things start going off the rails quite spectacularly. Because obviously we're, as the player, we're new to this, we have no idea what's going on, but also there's a heavy implication that we, the character, don't actually quite know what's going on. Excuse me. So, Jesse, your mum said you hadn't gone on a date, like, not in your whole life. Okay, so mum is still present as a character. Mum is clearly talking to Jesse behind our back. And this is really problematic, right? Like, regardless of whether you're receiving supportive messages from mum or not, this is really problematic as a whole concept. Because, again, mum's been talking to her cousin about our dating / love life. I've just had a terrible thought. We are Anna Steele in this scenario. We are literally the extremely naive protagonist of 50 Shades, the way we're being positioned here. We've never been on a date in our whole life. We're quite young. I'm not comfortable with this. And ultimately, unless I, the player, or I, the character, perceive this to be a problem, then it's nobody else's business. So this is very forcefully kind of coming from mum and cousin Jesse. Hey, you should date people. Jesse, it's not a big deal, but I'll do what I can to help you. It'll be a summer of love. I didn't ask for this. I really didn't. Please make it stop. I don't really even get the opportunity to say, like, okay, so this is where it kind of walks it back a little bit. Or if you prefer, a summer of totally platonic, friendly hangouts. Those are good too. That's great. But being ambushed with kind of the first half of it is already a lot. He walks it back slightly, and then honestly, that line might as well not have been said, because the game proceeds on the basis that you are dating all of these people, and he keeps setting you up on dates. So as much as he's like, oh yes, totally platonic friendly hangouts are fine, that push from an external force that's your family effectively to go on these dates with people is there, and it doesn't feel like the player has... I mean, the player has some agency in that you can kind of keep your relationships with these people friendly or take them to kind of into a more romantic direction. but it still feels very forced and very externally mandated that I have to go on dates with these people rather than, hey, let's meet some cool people and then maybe see if we like some of them, right? And so Jesse, who swears that he's not a pickup artist, and dear gods, is that a red flag of a line, but pretty sure I can teach you something about meeting people. As long as you're willing to be a little adventurous, you've come to the right place. Again, I don't get to object to any of this. This is like 5-6 lines of monologue where I can't get it in a word edgeways. Verona Beach is a town for lovers. It's best to keep your eyes and mind open. So again, totally platonic, friendly hangouts are fine, except I'm still going to push you in the direction of lovers. I won't guarantee you fall in love, but a date shouldn't be too hard to arrange. I haven't actually been counting the lines of dialogue that this has been going on for, but again, we have not been able to get in a word edgeways for any of this. So what do you think your main problem in love is? This is the first time we get to actually respond to this piece of information that we've just received, that our mother and our cousin are trying to just set us up on all of the dates. And we can't even say, look, dude, back off. I'm fine. I'm not interested in this. Yeah. Like, this is very railroady and externally mandated. I think you can actually still have this game pretty much as is, but you can tweak and soften this section and make it much less problematic than it currently is. So yes, problems are possible problems are nobody appreciates me, I'm cursed, or I'm ugly. I went with I'm cursed last night and it was like reasonably, like, it wasn't a great piece of dialogue either way. I'm really reluctant to try I'm ugly because that feels like it should open a whole bunch of stuff that it probably doesn't, and I don't quite trust the developers to have dealt well with it. But I might try it. Regrets are going to be had.
Nah.
Okay. Nope, wrongo. You're a cutie, cuz, but you might need higher self-esteem. Okay. So he's called me a cutie, which, again, not necessarily appropriate. And he's started armchair psychoanalyzing me. The first step in love is finding someone with similar interests and talking to them. So this is literally that one line, the previous line, that changes between what you pick in terms of what your alleged problem in dating and love is. So the first step in love is finding someone with similar interests and talking to them. So let's get you some confidence. And in fact, that didn't even change between I'm ugly and I'm cursed. There's a new fitness fad in Verona, perfect for meeting people and facing your fears. You have to have an open mind though. Are you ready? And again, we're not given an option to go, wait, what is going on here? Please stop. It's dungeons! Not sex dungeons. And honestly, at this point, I would be much more comfortable in I said this on stream last night as well, I'd be much more comfortable in a BDSM dungeon than in whatever the hell this guy is trying to drag me into. Though I guess there are some parallels. Never mind, don't think about that. You know, dungeons from like video games or D&D, like that, but in real life. There's been more monster infestations lately, so people kill them for money. It's great for building confidence and also getting a workout. Plus, wait, hey, I wanted to ask, can you turn into a weapon? That's a bit random. Sure, go with it.
Nah.
So we went with maybe, can you? And he can't. Nope, but maybe you can. Give it a go. You squeeze your eyes shut and imagine turning into a sword, long and sharp. You open your eyes to see if it worked. Nope, your hands are still there. Same old you. Oh, don't look so sad, cuz you can't do it, right? Me neither. Guess it doesn't run in the family. Transforming is big in Verona Beach. Around here, people like us are called wielders, at least around the weapon folks. You do great. Especially after you get a combat lesson from a sword friend of mine. I arranged one for this afternoon. You feel your heart start to thump heavily, meeting someone already. So again, this is very much... We've just arrived. We haven't had a chance to like get changed, get over a jet lag if appropriate. And he's like, I set you up on a date this afternoon, right now, in doing this new activity that you've never heard before, that allegedly is meant to be a shared interest between you and the people I'm setting you up on dates with. Whoa, that's a lot. Jesse's eyes widen and he shakes his head. Stop, take a deep breath. It's not a date, it's a lesson. He's a bit of a straight edge anyway. I love the denial that it's not a date because... Reader, it's a date. Remember, wielding isn't romantic. Perfectly platonic friends can wield each other, okay? So we come back to these reassurances that this doesn't have to be dating and it can be platonic, but again, he keeps pushing it, he keeps arranging dates for you, he keeps... And like, there's this family pressure that clearly your mum and Jesse have been talking about this, that we should be going on dates that we've never been on. Us, the probably 18-year-old ingenue. Sure. The important thing is that you're stronger together, so whenever you're ready, get out there and go to the mall. The mall has monsters? Apparently, something to do with common fears. I don't really know. Ask Isaac. He'll be waiting inside, he's a fencing teacher and a perfect professional. And in the meantime, I'll set you up on a proper date. Always check your text messages. So again, wielding is can totally be purely platonic, and Isaac is a professional. By the way, I'll set you up on another date. Jesse goes to leave, then pauses. Forgot to give you a little tour of the apartment, but this is sort of all there is. All yours. I have ideas on how you could use the shelves and desk, but we can talk about that after you're settled in. Feel free to use the mirror anytime if you want to try some new looks. No pressure. Bye. Jesse leaves. And that's kind of... Actually, let's have a look at these text messages. So, Jesse. Hey, it's Jesse. Now you have my number. Don't forget to meet Isaac at the mall. Also, I just saw on the news that there's a weapon thief out there. Weapon people are going missing. Stay safe. So again, he is pushing us to go and meet Isaac. No idea who Isaac is, but apparently we're going on a not date with him. So that's kind of all I wanted to do today. Just go back to that section and see how much of a difference the absence of the mum messages made, and actually they make zero difference in this opening section, which I have some thoughts about, and I will come back to them when I've played the entire game, but ultimately there is a very interesting dynamic here, and I certainly find it uncomfortable, where our family is basically conspiring behind our back to make us date. We've never dated. For all we know, we might be ace, we might be aromantic, we might just not want to, we might not be ready for a relationship, but there is this pressure in order to make the game work. And like, the game is called Boyfriend Dungeon, it is a dating sim, so there is a certain amount of generic conventions that we have to conform to. But I think there's better ways of doing it. And I will probably come back to those either on stream or in a later video, because I'm finding this game really, really interesting. Not necessarily in good ways, and I feel slightly guilty for not liking it as much as some people have. But I'm definitely finding it interesting. I think there's a lot to talk about here, without necessarily sending hate to the developers, because, again, marginalized creators, yes, we should hold creators accountable for what they do, but we should do it in constructive ways, which is what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, stay tuned. There'll be more of this, either on Twitch at twitch.tv/Elmira23, or back here at some point when I have the spoons and when I've actually streamed more of the game. Bye, Internet.